What's going on, everybody? This is James Grandmaster Facts Boys. You're here for another Facts Project. Today, got the return. Look, now, no, we did probably about like 8 interviews last year alone. Yeah. And this is our first time doing one in 2025. The return of Anthony Stokes, everybody.
What's up, man? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. So, not to say, what is it? It's June now. So, not to say that I haven't been watching, but just like last year, you've been awfully busy, bro.
Yes. No, I mean, it was a thing of, it's also interesting because whenever we release stuff, like it might take 6 months to 2 years to release a book. So you're kind of seeing the after image, like this is stuff I was working on 2023, really. And then now we're seeing it like come out, which is super gratifying for
Yeah.
sure. It's very nice.
Word, it's like you're reaping the benefits. As a matter of fact, I see the homies book back there. I see Chris Moses sign that for Mad Cave Studios.
Oh hell yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good eye.
yeah.
Yeah. My dog he's doing big things too. I don't know how many books we got together at this point, man. It's a lot. I mean, he's
Look,
on this book too. So this
that's what I was
this is
about to say. I was like, so the object of this particular discussion, we're here to talk about Demon Time, of
absolutely.
course, for Space Between Comics, the Dark Veil, or better yet, how you want to construct it. And Dark Veil, of course, is a collaboration between what yourself, Chris, Pat Shand, Chris as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we got the Space Between family. So Chris Halton, Shannon Lee, um, Steve, Chris Moses, Pat Shane. Yeah. So everybody is involved in a like at least an editorial capacity. There was a writer's room where they were involved in and they kind of like came up with the story. And then Pat handed it to me and then we took it. So yeah, this is this is my first Space Between co-writing feature.
Word? Like this
This is
is actually the first one?
Well, I did a short. I did a
Okay.
short call. Oh my goodness, what y'all? I'm like, this is my Monday, so I'll try to. I did do a short for host in the machine.
Okay.
So that was it, but that was like a short, and that wasn't co-writing. This is like we're like making the book together.
Right. And the way to the best way to describe this particular comic that you guys in this storyline that you put together is that you figured out a way to incorporate 5 of the 7 deadly sins.
Mm-hmm.
Uh whether it be envy, lust, wrath, gluttony, pride,
Yes.
into singular demons who are pretty much trying to make their ways around the world, incorporating through a fitness influencer and a porn actor, an art
Yes.
teacher, a self-serving junkie, and a
Yes.
politician. So when we're talking about the steps and the balances that you give for one character description,
Mm-hmm.
first off, where did this whole synopsis come from? As far as like how you wanted to input all of the 7 deadly sins into each character, and then
Yeah.
also how are you going to describe that character by how uh, how they're described on Earth?
Mm-hmm. So the concept this is in the Dark Veil Death Goddess versus the Dark Veil kind of story arc. And
Yep.
then so this was kind of as I saw it, as I understand to be almost like a Suicide Squad, right? This is almost like a dirty kind of grimy kind of spinoff, and that's how I approached it. I approached it like I was like what would be like a Suicide Squad kind of story that I would like. I love team narratives, they're my favorite. Like I just love a good team. And then as far as the description,
Hmm.
I mean, it was interesting balancing, 5 different main characters. You're trying not to play favorites, but of course you have your favorites. I mean, you love all your children, but I had some of my favorite ones. And no, the best part was getting them to bounce off each other. That was my one of my personal favorite moments of the working on the book for sure.
That's what's happening. Now, I have to ask, where did you get these names from? Valak, uh, Belphegor, Moloch, Oribus, or Dagon?
Listen, so that was something that they came up with. So I wish, I wish like I could have got Chris up here. I'm sure they have some kind of like reference to something biblical or something in that direction. Um, but I'm not really sure. And the names definitely threw me for a loop
Okay.
I was mixing them up. It's you know me, I'm always under caffeinated. So I'm like, all
Mhm.
right, so I'm like, okay, this is I would call Aerobis, Malik, vice versa. But essentially what I could tell was they were pulling from kind of like ancient mythology. That was the premise
Yeah.
for a lot of the book.
Okay, got you. Now as far as what the how this particularly fits in this world, this is the world of Dark Veil.
Yes.
There is other concluding books that are like also surrounding this particular one, whether it
Yes.
be Dark Veil One, Death Goddess of Cthulhu, Vampire Queen of Miami, Demon Time, which is right now, and then there's one particularly after this because this all runs congruent because the storyline, how it fits, is that this whole team is getting
Mm.
recruited by another crew led by Demena to fight
Yes.
against the Death Goddess.
Yes. No, yeah, 100%. Yeah. So it's kind of like she's trying to build an army to battle against the death goddess, and then that's where we kind of get everything. So it's really cool. Like you get the first two stories are told kind of they're like cycles, right? So one tells part of the story, the other one tells part of the story, and then yeah, so it's kind of like all these kind of different sections, and you get like a lot of different tones as well. You get a lot of different I like cooking as a metaphor. You get a lot of different textures with the arc and
Hmm.
with the and you got different different writers as well, right? So funny enough, as often as me and Chris work on books, which I'm sure he worked on like 15 to 20 books at this point, our styles are completely different.
Yep.
My style is completely different from Pat's. He would always make fun of me for not having enough dialogue with my earlier work. He would always, oh yeah, yeah, no, he would clown, going back and forth, kind of like a mentor, kind of
Right,
nudge,
right, right.
nudge. So we're all, we're all different. We're all, we're all different writers, but we're coming together, but also gives everything a different kind of feel as well.
Dope. Now, if I'm reading this correctly, and of course we talked about the prior books that kind of like led to this one. What necessarily were these five? Were they pretty much introduced in the last book prior to this, like Vampire Queen of Miami or any of the other ones, to where you knew that they were going to be this whole team up was going to happen with your book?
I don't think so. No, I believe we're introduced to the characters now. I think they did a good job in of section like making it what's the thing where you kind of keep everything segmented. I can't really think of the other word. But yeah, I think it might get a little messy if they showed up at the end of Vampire Queen. I think they kind of made everything like separated
Hmm.
for clarity's sake. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when we're talking about how we talked about earlier, how you kind of like constructed these characters and how they're pretty much in your eyes like a Suicide Squad. But
Yes.
so necessarily the way that they're pretty much written out, they're demons. But the thing is also on the butt end of it, they're way too caught up in their vices.
Well, yeah, yeah, exactly. And that what was interesting, really for me, was how do we don't make it like super modern, right? Like I would argue a lot of this is like really like um it's modern, but I would say it's more classic. Like an
Yeah,
art teacher. I mean, I guess the Fitspo would be the most modern thing, but I mean, there's like I can think back to characters that were just into fitness, right? Like you could see them
yeah,
wearing like was it the leg warmers or something like that, being into Pilates or that. So that was the interesting part. It's like, all right, how do we work and how do we building these vices and how does that how they play off each other.
yeah.
And no, I mean it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun and it was just cool to just kind of like just indulge, just indulge, just to do a story about hedonism and just kind of push it. I really wanted to push the boundaries of good taste. That was something push, get, just see like, all right, what can I get away with? What can I, and everybody was really receptive, man. I mean, there's some crazy shit in here.
Yeah,
Um,
like when we're talking about like Dagon basically being the leader of this crew
yeah,
and how he more so understands the crew that he has. Like he was like, okay, if we're going to basically like settle this mano y mano with Demena, with this entire crew, how are we going to do it? And two, can I get you guys to basically not think about your vices for one particular second so we can actually
yeah,
complete the mission?
yeah. No, exactly. It's almost like it's almost like he's babysitting. You know what I'm saying?
That's what
Like
it's. Yeah,
his ambition lends itself to the mission where everybody else is like just thinking about themselves, essentially. Yeah, which is, I mean, it's just great. Like it's like, what else would like five demons, like what would like, yeah, four demons kind of like, what else would they do? Like it just
yeah.
makes complete sense.
Now, Demena seems to be an interesting character. Her and Drood, like, what is the overall goal as far as the recruitment of this crew and trying to get them to join her in order to go up against the Death Goddess possibly in like the next issue, which of course is going to happen anyway. Like,
Right.
what is the end goal for her?
Yeah, she wants to make an army, right? And the as inept as these these demons are, right? Like they are still demons, and they also like have experience on Earth interacting with humans as well.
Hmm.
um so that's it. She's just trying to stack the deck against, and she just wants to kill the Death Goddess. Essentially, there can't be Death Goddess and Demena. Like they have to get rid of one or the other, and that's the next issue. The next issue is Death Goddess versus Dark Veil.
Yep.
Yeah. So then that's gonna be insane. That's gonna be absolutely crazy. I can't wait.
Damn. Now, what is this word that I keep hearing throughout the book where she details and calls all the demons, particularly in this crew, unclean?
Unclean. Ah, yeah, that's kind of like their name. Their name is the Unclean. That's kind of like their team. So they would be that's the Avengers. That's the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, because
That's what.
Dagon hates that word.
Yeah. I mean, it's because it's like he's probably associated. He's probably like kind of resents being associated with these guys. Like he doesn't even acknowledge that they're, or he doesn't say, he kind of questions that they're even a team, right?
All right.
Like, so you got to think like also in real time, to be a politician, to be associated with, like the things that these other guys are, wouldn't be helpful. It'd be super counterintuitive, so that's why that's the team name essentially. Yeah.
Or now, when we're talking about like the reason for this for this this entire crew right here, what they're basically trying to construct is just a bunch of minions. Because
Yes.
it's like the demons that are more so on her side, regardless if they get picked apart, they can go find another host.
Mm-hmm.
And how that's pretty much constructed because I guess after and I'll put it out there, the death of Belphegor, they're
Mm-hmm.
like, well, we could just find him a new host until you find out that Demena has like almost like this pet called
Yeah.
Emmett,
Yes.
just like basically just steals souls the entire time.
Yes.
So after that's basically essentially happening, that person cannot regenerate with a new host.
Yes, if they steal the soul. So that's what adds, you're right. That because they regenerate as well. So that's what adds the personal stakes. Is
Mhm.
like we can't, if they get a hold of if we get eaten by Amit, who is actually from Egyptian mythology, then we're cooked essentially. And that plays into a plot point later as well. Yeah. So essentially, it's a good observation. Yeah, like they can get their souls snatched. Um, which yeah, which comes into play later.
So does Dagon's him just refusing Demena's request to basically like join that crew because you see him as somebody that's overall wanted to have this sort of power set himself. Essentially, at the end, that kind of changes, and I'm not going to give anything up. But do we see Dagon trying to make another play at this, possibly later on?
I'll play it sly.
Ah,
I'll play it
okay.
sly and say maybe. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Now also from how this is pretty much built out. Um, Valak seems to be like an interesting character.
yeah.
Because of she understands the crew that she's in, but she also doesn't trust Dagon in the ways that many of the other ones have pretty much they fall in line. Even Belphegor, like right in the beginning, he was like, I know he was like basically all you've been tied up in doing is just getting your dick sucked. He
Yeah,
was
essentially,
like,
yeah.
you used to be something different. You used to be one to basically be the first one to into the fight and everything like that. And Valak just kind of like sees this, like, yo, I can't have this person particularly just bossing us around. And then when it comes to the death of Belphegor, everything particularly changes in his crew to where this whole Suicide Squad aspect just blows up in their face.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting because Valak is the only character whose vice is another person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, for as toxic as it is. So yeah, she's kind of looking out. She's the only person that's looking out for another person on the entire team. So that's why she kind of sees to that. She considers that. Whereas, yeah, the other ones are just like they're so self-centered that I got like they wouldn't even consider like if this is dangerous or what. They're more like cathartic than anything. They're like they're more like lazy than anything.
Damn. Now, I've noticed recently that a lot of your titles now have a new label over top. Can you tell me about Fire Ant Entertainment?
Oh yeah, fine. Yeah, yeah, that's my company, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's my name is Anthony. My friend Sean actually suggested it, and that's it. So that is the my equivalent of space between, is fire entertainment. That's my hopefully, like build up the brand, like
Hmm.
hopefully get to a space between level someday,
Now,
like
what was the first book that you actually like threw that title on?
hmm Cyborg, I think. But it was always in the book. Like I don't have it's funny. I mean, oddly enough, I have every other book but mine just in my general vicinity. But it usually had the Fire Ant logo in the back, generally
Okay.
speaking.
See,
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that. So damn, man. Well, for first, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Appreciate you. Yeah, I mean it's always been the thing. I guess it just wasn't in the forefront. When you start a comic book for the first time, there's just so much to consider. Like just
Yeah.
in general. There's so many things to consider. And it just wasn't. I was compartmentalized. That's the word I meant to say. I just compartmentalized. So like maybe things should have been done earlier, but I just do my best, and then things will kind of work itself out due to you if you stay disciplined enough, you stay dedicated enough, things will kind of you'll figure it out. So that's essentially a situation with that.
Yeah, and I always continue to ask you this, like, how do you figure yourself to maintain the juggle? Because you're
Yeah,
continuing to do things through space between, and you're doing everything's within your own imprint, and you're constantly just releasing books.
Red Sea too. Red Sea and
Yeah,
Zion with Charlie. I just talked to Charlie today about another project. I think it's compartmentalization
yeah,
again. It's I really don't worry about things if something's like a headache, right? Like because if I let something erode and just like erode my mental health, I will. But I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna put this in the back burner and then work over here. And then over the course of working on this other thing, I'll find a solution. I also, it really helps to have resources like a Chris Moses, like a Pat Shand, who I can like reach out to for help. But essentially, it's like one, I'm trying to write scripts in advance. I'm trying to write scripts in advance and have a back like it ebbs and flows. Like at some points I have like I'm sitting on a bunch of finished comics. Some
yeah,
points I have no finished comics. I want to have a good balance. I want to have a good balance of finished projects versus like liquid cash, right? So that's
yeah.
that's a thing. So I'm starting like for instance, Fun to Kill People 3, the ink's already done for that. We're not launching until next month. I mean, that's what I used to do. I used to have the book finished first, and what happens? You make so many books, and you're kind of putting down the train
Oh
track
yeah,
as you go.
your fulfillment game was, I mean, it still is. It's
Yeah,
strong.
Oh yeah, back in the day when I used to fulfill, I think
Like,
the set like a week later,
like it was like campaign end and just look in your mailbox.
yeah, yeah, and I would like to get back to. I mean, it's just not realistic, Like, and I know people. It was funny because somebody on Twitter was like, "Hey, here's a good idea: fulfill, make your book first." But like, it's just a fact of the matter is like, it's just if you're working with if you're working with a great artist,
Yeah,
their availability may be spotty. It may be prohibitive to do all at once. They may want, yeah. So it's like it's just not always doable. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously that's the
yeah,
best practice. You should
of
have as
course.
much done as possible. Yeah, but I think also something I've done is I try to get organized more, like I said, and then like all right, this is in the writing stage. Like it's like the script, and then it's like covers, and then it's like all right, inks and colors work in there, letters, all that stuff. We just kind of keep everything. You just kind of keep I just keep the balls in the air, I guess.
Yeah,
Like, and it helps when you're getting funded, and thank God for it. I don't give a fuck about aliens because that really gave me a lot of runway, and that allowed me to be like, okay, I'm agreeing like this, that.
hmm,
Um, but really, I think it's just about staying focused, staying organized, getting good people in your corner, and I think you can do whatever output you want. And also, the good news is like um, I was very involved with this process, right, for Demon Time.
hmm.
So I'm looking at the pages, I'm giving notes. I Funny enough, the title for Demon Time was my idea.
Sounded like it came from a brother. Keep
Yeah,
going.
yeah. Well, um, it was the Unclean, but I was in Pat's ear. You know what I'm saying? I was in
Mhm.
Pat's ear, like, come on, man, we got what about this? What about this? What about this? And we were at a con together. I said, yo, what about Demon Time? Probably because of something I said or some kind of adjacent conversation that somebody
Mhm.
had, and then he said, I like that. So we did that. So um I would say I'm really involved with this. And then something like American Yakuza,
Yeah.
I mean, we wrote that script over a year ago.
Mhm.
Damn, I
Yeah.
wrote that script 2 years ago. Shit. Um, so that was something where it's like, okay, I just write the script. I'll if you need something, I'll be here. But
Yeah.
Charlie is kind of doing this thing over there,
Right.
right? And then when I'm working with Chris, it's largely a lot of times in an editorial capacity. So that's like, okay, I'm looking at pages, I'm looking at scripts or what have you. So it's not like super hands-on with every single project. It's all different. Um, but yeah, man, that's basically it. But I just think like also you just have to be focused. You have to want it. I was thinking about this. I was like, what drives me as a creator? And I didn't really get an answer. I didn't get a definitive answer, but whatever the answer is, that's how, essentially. Because
Yeah.
like failure to me is not an option. And failure is relative to my expectations, I should say.
Do you still feel kind of like kind of bothered by like some other Kickstarter campaigns and how people I guess formulate their indie comics, and you're like, look, if you do these like seven things, it would be so much easier for you, but you feel I always feel like some campaigns skip steps.
I mean, I ain't really worried about what other people are doing. I'm gonna be honest, but I do notice that yeah, there's a lot of discourse about like obviously this has sexy elements to it, right? In
Yeah.
service of the story, of course. I mean, we have a porn star, but it's the demon of lust. Like, what do you want from me? Get off my dick. And they would be like, well, this is making X, and it's because it's sexy, but it's also like, well, I've been a part of, like, seriously, a part of like 20 campaigns now.
Yeah.
So I have the experience, so I know, and my campaigns look different than when I first started.
Oh yeah.
Like if you look back at the early stuff, there was a lot of graphics, and now and this is collectively, this is like me, Pat, Chris, whoever else that is our we you or let me say me and Chris, I should say.
Hmm.
It kind of like you just kind of, I want to say minimalistic, but you just kind of keep it simpler, I guess. Like you
Mhm.
kind of just trim some stuff. And yeah, it's not our fault. Like it just makes sense. Like the more you do something, if you're making like 2 books a year, you're stacking up experience, you know.
Mhm.
And I just think people also aren't necessarily willing to do the due diligence sometimes, and do the they just fire off the cuff, which I just could never do. I'm all about preparedness, I'm all about
Mhm.
like, there's a time to chew off the cuff, but I'm generally like, I mean, this script for Demon Time is probably the most time I spent like trying to get the story and the character interactions and the plot. This was probably the most hours I'd spent just collectively like talking to the editors and trying to figure it out, because it was very ambitious.
Yeah.
What the 5 characters, 30 pages, fitting into a universe and all that stuff.
That's what I was
Yeah,
about to
so
say. I was like, you had to. I'm thinking because there was already a world. So it's like,
yeah,
okay, here's the universe. These are the rules. Don't cross into this particular character. You can't kill. You can't think of a character another way because this character probably has been in like 3 other books. Like a character like Demena has probably been all throughout this series, probably
oh
like
yeah,
from the beginning to the end. So it's like, okay, if I have 5 demons going up against this one right here, I can't. What are the rules? I can't do anything to her. I can't maim her. I can't even scratch her. So when we're essentially put up against her, I have to formulate this story to be like, okay, my whole crew's gonna get wrecked.
yeah, you gotta pick. You gotta pick. It was like a thing of like, an outline and beats, and it was kind of like, I think like almost, I want to say sink or swim, but it was like, all right, you got to figure out. I'm gonna give you like the directions halfway there. You got to figure out the rest. And I was super happy. I mean, it to me, it's like, I think one of my best scripts that I've written.
Mhm.
I think because of the effort, because of the guidance, and it's like working with Pat. You want to step up. He's an incredible writer. He's an incredible talent, extremely hardworking. So you kind of want to. I mean, I imagine like being. I felt like Steve Kerr, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta hit the shot.
Hey, just feed me the rock.
Well, I say that too. Some yes. Is that what Steve Kerr said?
Just feed me the rock. I
I
got it.
don't know if that's what Steve Kerr said, but nah, he can do that too. Yeah, and the good news is after Demon Time, he must have liked the script, because then I got a bunch of other stuff after that, and I got promoted to story editor for a space between. So I believe he was. It was funny because I was in Long Island, and I said, "Yo, like let's go over," because I always want feedback, and he was like, all right, let's work together. So I was writing on something, he was writing something, and he's working on it, and I'm kind of looking over his shoulder. He's like, yo, do something else. Like, just don't look over my shoulder and stuff like that. But he was like, yeah, this is good. This is good. Yeah, this, like, it was like, damn, okay, like cool. I kind of got it. Yeah, yeah, like, and it was very meticulous in terms of the character interactions. I wanted every line to be really, really good, to be really rich. I mean, it's also interesting because it's like, okay, 30 pages, but we got 5 characters.
Yeah. How do
Boom,
you how do you
boom.
fit everybody in there?
How you fit everybody in there. And I was extremely proud of the set pieces that came up with, and I was proud of them because they were, I was given like a guideline or what have you, but I feel like I executed higher.
Yeah.
And then we executed like, I guess it went above and beyond.
Hmm.
I think like the I'll just talk I can talk about I'm sure I can talk about the first 5 pages. Um it was like Arobis. Oh, I'm praying to God I got that enunciation right.
I think you did.
It was like, okay, yeah, like she overdoses and then like kind of comes back. Or I mean, it's so weird because you work on this for so long, it's been so long, I guess. But the impression I got was that, yeah, she overdoses because she's the gluttony. And I love what they did, the idea of like, all right, it's not food, it's drugs. But it's not, but it's not just drugs, it's anything. She's just like, I was very important. There's a moment later where she's drinking like, and
Gotcha.
I was like, that was important to me to show that like she just consumes everything. And
Mhm.
then so she like she like overdoses, what has you, and then she picks her head up and she's alive, and she's like, that fentanyl ain't no joke. And she has a razor stuck, and I was like, yeah, that's what I when I say like operating in good, like pushing the boundaries of good taste, that's really what I'm talking about. But
Mhm.
like, that wasn't in the outline, right? And then also, I made the dollar bill bloody. I just wanted to be disgusting. Like I just wanted to be like, I have a
How a
metaphor.
junkie would be.
Yeah, I have a metaphor where it's like if I'm doing something greedy, I want it to feel like picking up like an ashtray that was like sat out for a while. Like you got to pick up the damn, but not underneath. You got to pick it on the side. Like that's the feeling that I want to give. And
Mhm.
then she asked for In and Out too, and I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, we're kind of like, because it was so fast. I call it running gun character development, where you're
Yeah.
like you're delivering character quickly and efficiently, so that the audience gets it, but it doesn't feel like Pat is very, and I'm also against exposition as well, like super heavy exposition. Um, so I think that's why that scene worked, and then the Malik scene as well. It was a thing of, it was like, oh, there she's killing somebody, and I was like, yo, what if she took that and like recreated like reset not oh my god Renaissance era paintings,
Yeah.
just kind of taking things that extra step, and then having Pat come in and do his thing as well. So I was really proud about that I feel like I went above and beyond what was on the page.
Word. Now, you brought up something a little bit earlier, talking about the fact that you've actually are now trying your hand at story editor, that you were
Yes.
just promoted story editor. So, how does it feel to get in that bag now, as opposed to constructing these stories? You're now the person that they're passing it to, looking for that constructive criticism.
Let me also say I'm one of several, if not a dozen
I
people.
kind of figured that.
Yes, it's a big team, and it's a great team. I mean, I got to hang out with those guys in January in New York. It was New York, Long Island. Um, and nah, they're close knit group of guys, like a lot of great injury, really smart, like a really fun collaborative process. So to get into that fold and try to add what I can was fun. In terms of being a story editor, man, it was one of the best. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I don't get promoted a lot. I think I think I've gotten promoted twice in my entire life. So
Mhm.
one of them is Pat. One of them is in my current other job.
Right.
So my mom always would be like, "Yo, I was one of those kids that didn't apply themselves, But like now I'm applying myself, things working out. So when that happened, and it was also like it was great. It was a phenomenal moment, and I mean, it's like it's also nice that I don't have to wait until the book's delivered to read the books, because like I consider Pat like a mentor, which I'm sure he would agree with. But I think that I want to take it a step further. I was like, I want to read everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want to read every single thing that's coming out from this company. It's a lot of damn books. Oh man, you think I do a lot of boy? Um,
I see the work.
yeah, I know. Pat's insane, bro. Pat's insane, but he's got a great team. So that's how he gets it done. But yeah, getting in there, and it's interesting as well, like the before and after,
Yeah.
where when I first got under Pat, and I really appreciate him for taking me under his wing, me and Chris, because it's like the trajectory of my life would be completely different.
Hmm.
For I might be homeless right now for no, I shouldn't say that, but like he's been a huge help, and like also it's like leaning on him less, because it's like I'm kind of internalizing like this that, getting a clear view. I mean, one thing he said, he's like I wanted to hear your voice, like your writer's voice. That's something he always said, and it's kind of almost like something I put a pin in, like that's always on my mental. And also Pat has a really good way of um giving advice in a really like casual way.
Hmm.
So you can't really, it's like you're okay, yeah, cool. It's like just having a conversation with you as opposed to being like this, that, boom. It sounded like really aggressive. Like he really like puts like a really good spin, a really casual spin on it that makes it easier to internalize as well.
Mm-hmm.
And something that he told me a couple times, we were actually in C2E2, and this is actually the weekend I found out I think I found the premise out for Demon Time or something like that. It was like that was when, so this is 2024. This is a year ago and some change. He was like, something that you have to work on. What I would want to see is just like your improvement in your eye for art. And that was just something that I worked on meticulously um since he said it. And I like now it's like paying off. And like God knows where I'd be if he didn't have that. We didn't have that conversation, you know. So
Right.
no, it's always great. It's always great talking to Pat, picking his brain and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess the same goes to say, because you talked about it a little bit too, Chris.
Oh yeah, yeah. Chris is my dog, man. Chris is my dog. It's the same thing. We kind of started. He started a year earlier than me, but when we became tight, it was like things started to kind of click and unlock. And yeah, I mean, he's another great resource. That is like really, really smart guy, really forward thinking guy. Always on the pulse of things. Super like can come with a premise like that. Um, and you know yeah, without these guys the trajectory of my career is definitely lower, so you know I always appreciate that. And you know, like I hope it's a two-way street. You know, I help Chris, you know, I do the editing for all his books, I believe. I don't, maybe some of the older stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but all the new stuff like I'm editing too. So yeah, you know, like it's like I feel like it's kind of like a trifecta. You know, maybe that's like maybe I'm like estimate myself there.
That's
But that's just how I see it. You know, that's how I
it's
interpret it.
it might be the new triangle offense, man.
The
Yo,
yeah, the big three, but I don't know if they, like I said, I don't know if they co-sign that, but they're not in this interview, so I'm gonna say that's how if I'm Ray Allen, if
ain't
I'm
nothing wrong with
Rondo,
being Ray Allen.
if I'm Rondo,
Ain't nothing wrong with being Rondo.
as long as I'm not Kendrick Perkins.
No, no,
Yeah,
absolutely not.
yeah, yeah.
No,
Yeah, and it's really cool to like be making books with these guys, and the stuff that I'm seeing, you know, like you're just I'm in Chris's Discord, and it's like you just stuff you see is just, and I'm in the space between all over the WhatsApp too, so it's like
yeah,
you see the stuff these guys are like putting out in like the process, and it's hard not to get inspired. Like it's hard not to be like, all right, cool, I gotta step up, I gotta do XYZ.
yeah.
And something I was really proud of was, I mean, it was like whenever I would send Pat something,
Yeah,
it'd be like he'd have notes. He'd be like notes, and maybe they'd be long notes, short notes, but they have notes. And now I send him something, it's like, this is good, good, you know, like, so that's when I know it's like, all right, cool, like it's working. You know, I'll get that fire emoji from Chris, I'll get that good from Pat, you know, we're chilling.
that's what's happening. Now,
Yeah.
what we got going coming up? Because right now, Demon Time has got about like 17 days left, about like 2 weeks. It's already funded.
Yes.
So that's pretty much in the bag. You're now basically like boosting everything up to stretch goals and everything like that. So you got I don't give a fuck about Aliens 2, which is going to
Yes,
drop next
sir.
month. And you talked about it's fun to kill people, that's basically dropping as well. So those are like the next two on the agenda.
Yes, yes. Because we just finished EC. American Accusers is coming out too.
Yeah.
American Accuser 4 is
Is that
coming
the
out too.
is that the last in the series?
No, it's five of them.
It's five. Okay, because we're on. I just got three in the mail.
Oh
Probably,
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, Try does his
probably
thing.
like two and a half weeks ago.
Lit. Yeah, yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. So there's that. So I believe it's Demon Time, and then it'll be um yeah, Aliens number two, and then American Yakuza, and then it's fun to kill people three, and there might be another project that I'm not really aware of. You know, like they do, yeah. Because you know, we were in the writers' room last year, the space between writers' room, and it was like one of the best experiences. I always wanted to be in a writers' room,
Yeah,
And so we just came up with so much stuff. Like I mean, bro, we did a lot. Um, and so I don't know. There's a lot of stuff on the schedule. But as far as to the best of my knowledge right now, yeah, it's that American Coups is aliens and it's fun to kill people.
Man, bro, always good having you. Thank you for doing this again with me. Right now, of course, like I said, Demon Time got about like 2 weeks left.
Mm-hmm.
Um, gotta say, man, always staying up with you, man. I'm glad you're still doing it out there doing work, man. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me, and thanks for always. I always gotta. Um, man, I don't do podcasts like used
Nah,
to.
you don't do them like a lot. So I feel a little honored.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's great to have somebody that like reads the stuff and like is really engaged and like is really asking really good questions. I mean, you made me just like reconsider some things about the process or the book that I didn't like. I was like, oh yeah, yeah, no, exactly. All the little stuff, the little character moments too. You picked up on those, so I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely, bro. Anytime. Of course, like I said, Demon Time, 2 weeks left in the campaign. Also, I don't give a fuck about aliens. We'll be dropping next month, so we'll probably be having a chance to talk about that. So, because we talked about the first one. So, thank you again.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much.
All right, man. So, for everybody here at the Facts Project, Anthony Stokes, James Grandmaster Facts Boys, go out there and get Demon Time issue 1 right now. Space Between. It's live on Kickstarter for the next 17 days, just a little bit more than 2 weeks. So get your hands on that right now. So for everybody here at the Facts Project, we are out.